Hello, lighthearted Rainbow Tribe. It's another blustery spring day. And amid the bluster and the fuss of life, let's find a moment of silence and stillness, of openness and aliveness. A beautiful radiance coming through all the clouds. And we can open into that within ourselves, in the recognition that this radiance is here always, no matter what it is that we're experiencing, no matter what it is that's happening in our lives or in the world. And that's the movement that this lighthearted being is all about. I was on fire this morning. I'm not quite so fiery this afternoon, but I was on fire this morning. I love these things that change. With this profound recognition of something that's very different about what's offered here in this articulation. And it's about being this alive. Here on the planet as a full, whole, resourced, human, divine creature being. The recognition that awakening and being really present and aware as the self is one of the more early stages in my experience of this unfolding itself as us. And that it continues to blossom, if you will, in increasing states of aliveness when we begin to recognize the law, the movement of consciousness lawfully, and we are functioning in concert with that, in a coherent, flowing movement of the stillness that we are. So we always have a paradox going on, of course. And that movement is for this to become fully consciously awake, aware, arisen, active, allowing, accepting, and alive. And it's like all of those are like phases of the movement, and they go back and forth, and different aspects are come forth at different points. The recognition of the ignition inside of this essential activation This that is the activity of truth, of our conscious beingness, of our essence, not of what we're used to, which is our minds, the activity of our feelings, of our speech, of our behaviors, the things that we do, the sensations and movements of the body. But to have all of that be funded and resourced and emanating and emerging directly from the deep withinness of us out through us. And what I was really experiencing and looking into this morning is this sense that we begin frequently, most of us, because our heads tend to open up first. Some people, it's the body that opens first. For other people, it's the heart that opens first. But we are such a head-oriented society and world that for many of us, our minds they'll keep going, because they're used to keeping going. But we'll start to know something. We'll know something before we'll feel it, and before we'll sense it, and before we'll directly experience it. And so these are different experiences. When you really look at them, you'll notice that something rings true and we know it's so, but it's not our feeling. We don't feel it. Or it's not something that we sense. And it's so amazing, because when the senses begin to open up and you experience directly the textures, the tastes, the smells, the sounds, the sights of all of this infinite invisible being, that's wonderful. And that becomes a direct experience that is fully embodied and here in the system. So the heart, the mind, the body are all experiencing the essence of being. And it has so many different aspects and flavors and dimensions that it can reveal, and they all have different, we sense them all differently. We experience them all differently. And then there's a place where that begins to become established. It's like our system doesn't move away from it anymore. It becomes a lot living here. It's established in our system as so. It's not something that we question. It's, even though our system may move away from it, it's like it's not entirely gone. The place where we begin to feel it being active, as the movement, as the expressiveness, as the creativity, as the compassion, as the capacity to be present and with people and let this arise spontaneously and feel it arisen in our system and active, comes from, it being increasingly established as what is here. And this is, not of ourself. There's nobody who can do this or make this happen. It's because we have continually turned toward and we have cultivated within our own inner garden this conscious contact, this receptivity that continually is saying, I am here, fill me up. I am here, I am awaiting your presence. I am here, I love you more than anything in the world, the truth, the presence, whatever that is. Until that union takes place, until the consciousness opens in these delicious, unbelievable states of being that our experiences come and go. So the idea that we're going to get into one of these and stay there is not practical in this world. This is a realm of change, of constant change. The changeless in expression is in constant change because there's no formation that can contain it. So of course it's going to change. When we recognize that, there is an activation of this active presence in our system established as what is, functioning in and through us. It's like it takes up residence here. We are dwelling within the indwelling presence. The indwelling presence is dwelling here in us, living through us. And then there's this sense of this being alive. It's alive. When this came to me the other day at this kind of new level, I was like back in Young Frankenstein with the wonderful Gene Wilder, and you know, that moment when he says, "It's alive!" And that's the way it begins to feel. We are this alive, alive, fully, completely, wholly alive. We're not mucking around in mortal consciousness anymore, in the death of being. And it's not that dying isn't a part of it. Dying is a part of life. So we're not in denial about death. Please understand that. But we are also recognizing eternal life. And that the parentheses in eternity called birth and death, you know, that's just a little parentheses in eternity. Alive. And I'm finding with the beautiful, lighthearted beings that I get to meet with, including myself, you know, these places that come up of kind of a frustration, where there's an, you know, especially here in springtime when we've got this emergence, right? So seeds are breaking open, and the tightly closed buds on the trees are like, where's that sap? Where's that, you know, so I can bloom. And that's running in a lot of systems right now. It's like that buildup of energy that's just going to like burst forth. You know, it's like, boom, here we come. Here comes the blooming. Here comes the aliveness. Here comes the new life. And that's what death gives us. It gives us new life. So dying daily is an intelligent thing to do. We're becoming more fully alive. This fullness of life that gives all of the universe life and all of this incredibly beautiful planet life is coming alive in us. And it's a creative life force energy that is unstoppable, beautiful, wondrous, emanating compassion and joy and freedom and loveliness and gentleness and tenderness and openness and deep exposure and being fully in the moment and being real with what's here. There's no sort of idealization about, you know, you're always supposed to be at peace. This, in the changeless realms of the infinite and invisible, there is, you know, always at peace. But here, alive, peace comes forward, spontaneously arising because peace is what's called for in a certain moment. In another moment, it's effulgent joy, it's laughter, it's ridiculousness, it's silliness, and that's the nature of freedom. In another moment, we can be completely identified and miserable, looking out at our lives or what's happening or in this place with the, you know, there's this arising life hitting up against the, you know, the closed bud and is going, I want to come out, I want to come out, I want to burst forth, I want to come forth. It looks how it looks, it feels how it feels, it moves how it moves. There's no way, particular way, that this is. And that's a deep freedom. That's the place where we begin to really realize that this is free to identify, it's free to forget itself, it's free to wake up again. A lot of people aren't ready for that. But when the recognition of that degree of freedom comes in, wow, life is just alive. It's just fully alive as whatever it is that's coming forth in the expression and experience of this moment as it is. And we get to be real about that. We get to tell the truth about that. So that's what lightheartedness is all about. It's being this real and being this alive, fully, completely, as a human divine creature on this earth, on this planet at this time during this phase of the restoration of the garden. Lovely to be with you. So happy to be able to share this and offer this love forth to all who are willing to be ignited by the truth and live it. May this grace your life. May you recognize the grace that is in your life right now. May all the world awaken to this loving truth.